Hello and welcome to the video. Today we'll be looking at this HP Stream X360. This was a budget laptop from the year 2014, and this one currently has a non-working battery. It's a 360 degree laptop, so you can flip it around like that, and it has this one. Does not have a working battery, so you have to use it while plugged in, but it really doesn't affect the usage. It's still just as slow as it was when you bought it or when you use it now. It has a full QWERTY keyboard, but no 10 keyless without the keys down the side. It has a Intel Celeron 2nd generation, which is essentially an Intel Atom that's been made go a bit faster. Got quite a large trackpad considering how big the laptop is, and it's 11.6 inches, I think. You can look it up yourself if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 11.6 inches. It's quite a small laptop. Let's plug in, turn it on. I've got Windows 11 on this, which is probably the worst operating system you could ever put on one of these, but it works. Oh. It's got no battery, it has to figure out what's happening before you can turn it on. There we go. It's got a touchscreen. There you go. Because it's got the battery's dead. It has no battery, so it has no idea what the time is. It has 32 gigs of eMMC storage, so you can basically just store Windows and 3 programs. If I had the battery plugged in on this, it would refuse to boot up. I think it might have something to do with it having some sort of water damage, but I'm not completely sure about that. Open it up. Welcoming me. And I say thank you very much for being so polite. This is also a Windows 10 debootloader. Don't tell it it's on Windows 11, but it does the same thing. So first, let's do Crab Rave. Not Crab Rave, and we're thinking that's what I used to use before I realised I got a copyright strike. Scarlet Fire. Eventually it'll load. It's actually a pretty decent laptop if it had a working battery and a working touchscreen. But I'm sure I could fix that next time I take it apart. I really can't be bothered to do that right now, because I'm lazy. Turn up the volume. And it crashed. That's what happens when you only have 2 gigs of RAM. Oh yeah, I didn't mention it has 2 gigs of memory, which is really a problem on Windows 11. I'm going to put it into tablet mode. upside down. I think something else might be disconnected as well. I think we'll do it very thoroughly. Guys, at full volume. If you flip it back around so you can see it's like it's a laptop. I'm going to try it around like that this time. It really brings out the tinniness. Oh, touchscreen worked. Studio sound, more like DTS PPO sound. So I've got, let's do pass mark. There you go. This is the only thing we can fit on the hard disk. Go into storage settings. Eventually. It probably doesn't seem that bad when you're looking from the camera, but it really is. 32 gigs of the Queen's finest storage. 3 gigs left. That is so much storage. Can't believe it. Close that, try and keep as much memory free as possible. I'm going to open up hardware monitor. So I'm going to close it in between. Okay, so we're currently at 50 degrees on my processor. This has no fan, so about what you would expect. Look at Task Manager. So this is out memory. .6 gigs used. So it's basically used up all the memory. It has no storage and no memory, so where's the page file? In the ether, maybe. I don't know. So let's run benchmark. Oh, I said I was going to close them. Yes, it's okay to continue. So it got a score of 256.7, which is not very good at all. So in CPU it got 406.7, in 2D it got 46.6, in 3D graphics it got 91.1, in memory it got 499.7, in disk it got 806.4. Just gonna open this to check the temperatures. Okay, so it got up to a temperature of 54 degrees, which is not very high really, considering it has no fan. Under here it's quite toasty, under there I can warm my hands up on there. Cost of living crisis, am I right? It ranked that out of that globally. I don't know what number that is, I can't say it. Here goes 2.16, 2.17. Okay, so it's like really, it's like the worst of the worst section. That's really not very good. Still like basically worst of the worst. 2D, a little bit better, but still pretty much the worst of the worst. I'm not expecting it to be good, I'm just saying that it is really bad. This one's like worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. It's even worse. Not even compared to Intro HD Graphics 4400, which is like bad. It's got a score of 91. And this is newer than that. It's newer than the HD Graphics 4400. So this is really bad. I mean, really, really bad. $499, worse than 8 gigs of DDR3, which is like DDR3, so it's wild, but it's still, it's probably about expect considering it's 2 gigs disk. They don't have any hard drives on here, so I would presume it's probably about the same speed as a hard drive. I've got 140 read and 49 write. But for probably what you would expect for a eMMC drive. What have we got to do now? Let's see what kind of YouTube videos it can play. I have a suspicion that it'll probably be able to play probably about 720p and then not be able to play anything else. This has a 1366 by 768 display.
So, your brand needs some digital marketing. Go to Fiverr. Get landing pages, banner designs, and
okay, so first, let's turn this all the way up to the highest they can do, 4K. Let's do 4K, see whether it can handle that. Show enable stats for nerds. Probably haven't got enough memory for it, but I'm going to try it anyway. Nope, I don't think it has got enough memory for that. I'm just going to turn it down to, let's try 1080p. Ooh, a bit stuttery. Let's Dropping lots of frames. Dropping some frames. So I think by pausing it for a bit, trying to build up a buffer. Press play now. Dropping frames. Let's try 720p. It's probably the lowest I want to go on this display. This is at 60 frames a second, so it's pretty good. Still dropping frames. Let's go down to 480p. If this can't play this, this laptop is worse than I thought it was. But on the other hand, I don't think that you should really put Windows 11 on this. It's just so slow. 0 dropped. There you go. It's fine with it. It can play that. So 480p video on Windows 11. Probably if you install like Linux or Windows 10 or Windows 8, it's probably better. But this has a TN panel, and it's I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's glossy, which isn't the best either, but it's a touchscreen, so that's a plus as well. Windows button still works, but nothing else works. It's very weird. The keyboard is okay. The keyboard is okay. It is just the standard HP it's just a standard HP keyboard they put in all the laptops. I'm not complaining, but you will know what I mean. It's just a standard HP keyboard they have in all the laptops. I'm not complaining, but you know what I mean. If you've seen a HP laptop from about the year 2010 to about the year 2017, you will know this keyboard. This keyboard is exactly the same. They have exactly the same stuff. Sometimes they have a numpad, sometimes they have an extra load of keys down there, but they're all basically exactly the same. The touchpad is actually surprisingly good. It does float a little bit above this thing, but it's a little bit raised up from the surface at the bottom, but it kind of slopes down, and it's nice and clicky. A nice definite click, and it has 2 buttons, but they're in the thing. It's nice and modern. I think this laptop looks remarkably nice considering that it's 6-7 years old. On the back it's nice blue plastic, HP logo on the back. There's a HP design trademark of Hewlett-Packard Company, 19.5 volt 2.31 amp power adapter. It's just the standard HP power adapter that they've been using for years. It has a barcode and stuff and things. Hewlett-Packard logo. It's essentially just a very small laptop, not particularly exciting. Basically what you would expect. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye. guide to this as well. But also, I think there'll be some videos coming up where I put Chrome OS on this and see whether it runs any better as a Chromebook. I might put Windows 8 on it and have a bit of a nostalgia trip, because I used to use Windows 8. It was my I used it for basically the longest out of all of them. 8.1 specifically. Because nobody else ran it, I would remember being so proud they had the latest version of Windows, and everyone was like, you do know that it's the worst. But I was still like, oh, I used to run Windows 7. Bye then.